Alright, what's up, everyone? I'm not gonna lie, I don't know why, but I've been coughing like crazy in the last, honestly, just the last 10 minutes. I think I just ate something weird. Anyway, guys, this was very, very interesting. And by the way, guys, this is probably gonna be a little bit more of a chill stream. I don't know. I don't know if I'm feeling it to be that energetic, but this signature and price, remember this for the rest of your life. When we have a when we have a leg up, let's measure this out correctly. So when we have a leg up like this before a massive drop, the gap that's in discount, it's going to be very sensitive, right? So this leg up is a breaker. This whole entire leg up is a breaker. And then we get a move higher. This area down here of this initial leg up is going to be very sensitive. And look at this. Reaper gap. It's the exact low, right? We can take this 5-minute Reaper gap and we can take a flow state off of it. So we can go 5-minute Reaper gap, 30-second change in state. Let's see if we get that. And we do in fact get that right here, right? So taking this 5-minute Reaper gap, finding 30-second change in state off of this, you can see that this actually would have been, let's go and measure this out here. 30-second change in state off of the Reaper gap. And yes, if I saw this live, 100% I'm taking this. "30-second change in state off of the 5-minute Reaper gap. Look at this, guys. We sweep out the low with, by the way, with SMT. And would you look at that? We actually continued up for the rest of the day. Crazy. And I know you guys are thinking, "Oh, bro, there's no way you'd actually catch this." Yes, there is, bro. I know 100%. If I was just on the charts for this, I would take this. 100% chance. 100%. If I was on the charts at this exact time, I would take this. Very simple trade. And you can honestly, like, you could really just target this LRLR up here. And then that's 10 to 1. So, but once again, if you wanted to only target 4 to 1, that's perfectly fine. Or even less than that is fine as well. So, anyway, let's just go on the lower time frame and just show the mechanicals on how you would execute this, because that's the important part, right? So just to show kind of how mechanically you would take this. Target this high, that's 1.4 to 1. So now I'm just showing mechanically how this works. You could measure out this order block. Let's just say we would target the 4th. That's a reasonable target, you know what I mean? The 4th. And bang. Now you'd obviously have to hold it through all this, but clean. And you could maybe go a little bit more aggressive on the stop. Like that. Or even like this. Yeah. Okay. Let's also show there was SMT at the bottom. Once again, guys, I'm listening to music. This is more of a chill type of stream, so... So 1336, flow state close, close, 5-minute, 30-second, and I'm going to put in brackets that we used a Reaper. Alright. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so this was an obvious low resistance liquidity area to target. We probably want to use a higher time frame model though at this point. We had a 1 hour gap here. The reason this 1 hour gap is nice is it's in discount of this entire price leg. Dude, every single time I backtest, I just get hyped. Every single time I backtest, I get hyped. It's just like, guys, it's just a matter of time. You guys realize how close we are, right? I'm gonna be listening to music. For some reason, my AirPods aren't connecting to my phone. I think tomorrow I'm gonna go to the dunes to backtest. Okay, I'm trying to get my phone working. I'm gonna try and hit the gym tomorrow. I'm gonna try and make sure I do that. We got the left AirPod to work. Alright, let's lock in. Is anyone watching? Hey, what up, Javier? What up, bro? This is a more chill type of backtesting day. I'm just not feeling like going to my computer, so I'm just gonna be doing backtesting from here. But this was nice. Why was this 1 hour gap nice, guys? This 1 hour gap is nice. Hey Siri, play. There we go. Good job, Siri. So this is a nice 1 hour gap because why? It is obviously perfectly in discount of this entire range. These are the types of PD arrays that are going to work super, super well. And it gets me hyped to see this because it just goes to show how perfect these markets really are, right? They'll be PD arrays perfectly placed in premium or discount of an entire leg. It's like it's meant to, the markets are meant to take these trades off of. They are literally designed to take trades. It's so cool. Right? Look at that. So now we can drop down onto a lower time frame, find a 5-minute change in state. Once again, guys, I am listening to music. I highly recommend you guys do that as well. I can't play music on stream. I'm going to get copyrighted. But 1 hour fair value gap, perfectly in discount. So now we can drop down to the 5-minute. This is one where you might even want to drop down even to a lower one, to maybe like a 3-minute time frame. I can just kind of tell that it might work better to do that. Yeah. This is just a situational type of thing, but in this situation, it honestly may be a little better to use a 3-minute change in state. Let's just look at it again. Yeah, look, there's no 5-minute change in state, so I just use a 3-minute. What about a 4-minute? Yeah, 4-minute one. I guess you could use it. So where's equilibrium of this? Let's drag this over. So there's equilibrium in blue. Does backtesting not just get you guys hyped? Because it gets me so hyped. Like, we're gonna get there. We are. It's just a matter of time. So I think a 3-minute change in state works better here. Or, honestly, let's just backtest what we see. The 4-minute change in state actually works. We could also use the 5-minute change in state. What do you guys think in this situation? Sniper entry, by the way. These markets are perfect. So yeah, I think we'll be drawing up to this 4th standard deviation. We're at the 2nd standard deviation now, so we'll probably get some kind of retrace. Honestly, we might want to trade London tonight because this is some pretty clear trading right here. And going into London, we could get something. We actually could get something. Definitely. I mean, very clear buy model. You know what I mean? This is, hey Siri, repeat the song. This is the type of price action that I want to be trading, so I might, whatever. Like, this is the type of price action I really do not mind trading, and so maybe I would stay up for London for this, because this is clean. Once again, I don't care if I trade New York or London. If I can't trade it across my all my accounts if I trade London, but still, price action is clearly pretty nice. So this is an interesting way to do this, but let's just say we took a 4-minute CISD instead of a 5-minute. Then we could actually get in. We might need to take a 3-minute one. Let's just say we entered on the 3-minute CISD wick. And you can see how perfect this is, right? I'm not giving up. I'm never giving up, man. I literally would have caught a like 3-1 if I just held the trade that or if Trade of 8 hadn't alerted me to that I was gonna get liquidated. I basically would have taken a 3-1 today. Once again, target the 7th instead of the 6th. I actually like this liquidity pool though. So I would target this. Let's actually mark it out like this. So we can go accumulation, manipulation. In this specific instance, I'm aligning a 1-hour gap with a 3-minute because it works a little better. And then, bang, LRLR right up to it. Pay attention to the fact that let's see. Let's go like this. Pay attention to what was I gonna say? Oh, the true open. Yeah, so look at this. 1330, this is the true open for the session. We manipulate the true open perfectly, which confirms that this right here is likely to be manipulation. And yeah, then we go higher here. So pretty cool. And then we enter on the wick of the change in state. And that's how we get onside with distribution. At least that's what I would do. There's also a 2022 gap here, but take this however you want. That's clean. See, I would enter on the wick here, especially because there's obviously a 2022 gap there. And then we also enter as an inducement of these lows. Clean. That's exactly what you want to see. And then we drive up to the LRLR. That's 4-1. Once again, I'm entering on the wick because the wick, uh, it's a nice wick for the change in state. So I aligned the 1 hour with the 3 minute in this case, which is kind of interesting. If you put the fib on the range, 0.618 is the level that price rejected off of. Really? Wow, that's interesting. So basically we come back down, tap this, and then continue. That's interesting. Yeah, so I aligned the 1 hour with the 3 minute here. Once again, I don't think it's an exact science. Like, it's not like it doesn't have like it's basically just like taking an inefficiency, waiting for confirmation out of it to go target liquidity. So I don't care if it's a 5 minute, a 3 minute. It's kind of just, you know, it's all just using common sense a little bit. Flow state. What is this? Flow state retest. Yeah, flow state retest. We're entering as an inducement at 1406. One hour, 3 minute. I don't think I've ever aligned the 1 hour with the 3 minute before, but it's a cool little experiment to see if it's gonna work. Okay, AirPod died. I'm gonna switch my AirPod. Okay, let's keep going. That was pretty nice, guys. It's also a 3 minute 2022 model, if you can't tell. It's pretty nice. Let me show you. So, obviously, as we said before, this whole range is accumulation. Let's get rid of the change in state. Now we're just looking at it in the realm of this being a 2022 model. But here's our higher time frame PD array. It's perfectly at equilibrium. There's an old low, perfectly resting in above the gap. So if you can't see it, let me show you. We have liquidity sweep. That's manipulation. So liquidity sweep. Break of structure. We break this little tiny swing high here. You see it? So liquidity sweep, break of structure, it's very subtle. But once you get your eyes attuned to it, you can't unsee it. Then we form a fair value gap right here when we break structure. This fair value gap rests nicely below. Actually, you can consider this whole thing the fair value gap, but I would prefer to enter as an inducement, meaning we're waiting for an old low to get taken when we enter. So we sweep the true session open, and then as well we have here, let's drag this down. As well, we have 1352 true open right here. So this is the true open of the 90-minute cycle. And 1406 technically, no. Yeah, 1352 and then 1358. Anyway, let's just use 1352. So back to the 3-minute. We get here, let's just bring this over. We get a liquidity sweep into what's it called? We get a liquidity sweep into the bottom of the fair value gap. Break of structure here. This orange line is break of structure. Fair value gap forms right here. And then an inducement of this low into the fair value gap below the true open. So this is a really nice entry right here. I honestly would mark out the fair value gap like this. And yeah, this is the 3-minute 2022 model. Do you guys see it? Accumulation, manipulation. I wish I could clean this up a little bit because it's kind of messy. Let's get rid of the true open. Just trying to make this look a little better. And then let's get rid of this. Okay. Do you guys see it now? Let's drag this over. Liquidity sweep, break of structure, fair value gap. And that's it. With a higher time frame PD array. Bang. And we incur almost no drawdown. And then we go hit the low resistance liquidity. Essentially no drawdown at all. Crazy. So yeah, this is a 2022 model on the 3-minute. As always, it's always cool to check to see if this was a dealing range. So let's go and check that, and then I'll screenshot it. Yeah. Not an obvious one, but still. Nice buy model here. So yeah, 3-minute 2022 model. Oh, and then one other thing. As always, it's valuable to mark equilibrium. What do you know? Equilibrium tapped as well. Nice little confluence right there. Let's just do that. Let's draw that out real quick. Just to show it. So 1406. (2022) model on the 3-minute. Let's go ahead and save that. I think, yeah. Is that everything for that? Alright, let's take another break. Alright. So, I guess let's keep going. So, something I was thinking about while I was at work, I saw this. And I was like, this might actually end up delivering us lower, and it did, right? We had a 15-minute for value gap here. And then we get 1 minute change in state out of it. Probably. Yeah, so we get pretty nice, obvious 1 minute break of structure here, or 1 minute change in state. This is a very simple trade. 15-minute for value gap, 1 minute change in state. I guess let's look to see if there's a SMT. And there was, of course there was, there always is, dude. With these kind of things, there always is. So what is this, by the way? This is a Dark Phoenix, right? Hang on. It's not 90-minute SMT, but it is SMT. So we have a rejection block here. And then a change in state. Once again, I kind of want to see if this is a dealing range. It might be one lower. Wait. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Wow. These markets are amazing, man. Rejection block in the rejection block partition. Order block, aka change in state of delivery, in the order block partition. Just to show you I'm not making this up. Fair value gap in the fair value gap partition. Right? We can actually mark this out on the lower time frame as this. So we have a fair value gap there. Just insane. And then where do we go? To the draw on liquidity, which is this low. You guys swallow that red pill yet? Oh my gosh. So, liquidity sweep. I'm kind of curious. I'm starting to get better at knowing the true opens. 10:52. And then I guess 1222. Yeah. So yeah, 1222. This is a 90-minute true open. Oh, what? Wow. Beautiful. So, let's get rid of the true open. To simplify what I've been saying, we have manipulation of this high, so all this you can consider accumulation, manipulation, 1 minute change in state, and then distribution. Bang, right down to that low. I'd actually mark it out like this. Bang. And then if we project out the order block for standard deviations, well, perfectly to the eighth. Pretty cool, huh? Fourth hit perfectly, second hit perfectly, sixth hit perfectly, and eighth hit perfectly. Can't make this up, guys. Oh, shoot. What just happened? Bro, this gets me so excited. Never giving up. So, Dark Phoenix at the high. 1 minute change in state. Off of our higher time frame PD array. So once again, these markets, all models are the same model. And I'm going to make a video about this soon. But every model that you guys know is the same. Here's Turtle Soup. This is Dark Phoenix. We take a soup above the rejection block. Here is the 1 minute change in state of delivery close off of the 15-minute for value gap. We retest it, but we're also retesting a 2022 model on the 1 minute. And then delivery to where? To the low. Bro, guys, we can't give up, dude. We can't ever give up. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's save this. Hey, Kirk, what up? You're not first. But we love it. We still love the enthusiasm. And by the way, guys, I am listening to music. This is a more chill type of stream, so I'm just going to be listening to music. I highly recommend you guys listen to music as well if you guys want. But and this is a really great example of just going to show like you got to enter a trade with conviction, not care about the outcome, and then go play hockey or something like FA does, because you're not going to be able to hold through this. You're realistically not going to be able to hold through this. It's too emotional. That's why you got to go play hockey or like go boxing or do something fun. And then when you come back, you're like, "Oh, dang. TP just got shattered." And yeah, that's kind of the whole idea is like if you go do something to distract yourself, you're going to make a lot more, you know? Cuz you're going to not even be looking at it. No emotions, just execution. And I wish that was the case with the trade that I was going to take, but Trade of It was like, "Bro, I'm going to liquidate you if you don't close your position by 3:45 Eastern." And I was like, "Okay, fine." And then I closed it, and then guess what? It ended up hitting 3-1 or 4-1 or something. Whatever. That was a trade I took on one of my alternate accounts on my personal. But yeah, 12:25 flow state retest, 15-minute fair value gap aligned with a 1-minute change in state of delivery. And then as well, as you guys probably already know, this is a 2022 model as well. Why is this a 2022 model? Because, well, we have a fair value gap in premium. So 2022 gap, liquidity sweep, break of structure, and then fair value gap, same thing. We actually reclaim this gap. You could probably find a 15-second change to delivery within here, and that would be a sniper entry, but that's besides the point. Let's actually look at that though, now that I'm thinking about it. This is why sometimes you don't want to go break even. Kind of depends on the context. $12.25. 2022 model on the 1 minute. And then what else we can do is we can say, okay, let's actually take this 2022 model as a reclaimed gap. So let's say we were super patient. We're like, I don't want to take this unless it gets reclaimed. So you can see it was used once, twice, three times. Now this fair value gap is supercharged, so we really like this gap here. It's a supercharged gap. And, well, what happens next? 15-second change in state. We enter right on that change of state delivery close right here. Stop loss like that. Targeting that same exact target. Now that's 4-1. You get what I'm saying? Easier said than done, but that's the idea. So here's 2022 plus. It's also right during the macro as well. That's crazy. All right, I kind of want to look at price action right now. Let's see if we can try and predict price action right now. So, we're obviously in a buy model. And it makes me mad because I did try and put a micro order, a limit order right here. Tradeovate didn't fill me. It's like, no, Tradeovate did fill me, but it said we're going to basically liquidate you if you don't have your position closed by market close. I was like, fine, and then I closed it, and then it ended up going in my direction. Isn't that so dumb? But essentially, that trade that you're looking at right there, we had a daily key level, we had a daily propulsion block, and then a 1 hour change in state of delivery, and that entry is on the wick of the change in state of delivery. So, for instance, we have a daily key level, right? So, let's go through it one step at a time. Order block, propulsion block. I'm marking out the wick of this. Daily propulsion block. You see that? Drop down to an hourly. 1 hour change in state. We get that right here. Very obvious that this was going to be a buy model. So we have a wick of the change in state right there. And basically, this wick of the change in state, I had a limit order there, Tradeovate. Basically, you can see how perfectly accurate that was. And Tradeovate was like, yo, you should close it because we're going to liquidate you. I was like, fine. And then I should have just held it. Anyway. Let's see if anyone's even watching. Oh, there's 3 watching. Nice. Well. Oh, no way, I got a sub. Alright, guys. Anyway, I'm gonna go. Yo, Gary's watching. What up, Gary? I was just about to take a break. This is a more chill type of day. I'm not feeling like going to my computer and doing detailed backtesting. I'm just kind of chilling in bed. But as always, we got interesting stuff going on today. A lot of interesting stuff. I guess let's just keep going. I was going to take a break and use the bathroom, but I'll do that later. A lot of interesting stuff today. You know, like I was saying, this I knew this was going to be the wick of this change in state was going to be sensitive, and then bang. I kind of want to try and predict current price action. Like, part of me wants to. I think we'll draw back up to at least this high. At least this. 100% at least these bodies. Like, we're gonna draw up these bodies. So let's try and frame a trade of how we could get there. Just for fun. Uh, okay, I honestly there's no opportunity. I can't do that. That's gonna be forcing it. Alright, I am gonna go on that break actually. I'm gonna go on that break. Did anyone say anything? Nope. No one said anything. Alright, I'll get back to back testing in 1 second. Alright. I guess let's keep going. So. Alright. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I kind of want to trade live. What did I say? What did I say about those 1 hour bodies? Or those 4 hour bodies? We're almost there. We're going there. Yeah, we're definitely going there. Anyway. I don't know, guys. Dude, 1524 subs is pretty good. It's pretty cool. What do you guys want to look at now? Anyway, I'm going to be listening to music. I should probably try and go to the gym tomorrow, but okay. Yeah, I mean, look at this 1 hour change in state. You can tell because of the displacement that this wick is likely to hold. And you know what's interesting? We can actually turn this wick into quarters. And we can get very precise. I've never even thought to do this before, but now I'm curious. So, turning this wick into quarters, we induce this low into that first quarter, or into the second quarter. It's just, just an interesting thought. All right, we should probably look at something real. We're obviously going back to all-time highs now. Once again, that Reaper gap was incredibly nice, incredibly obvious. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, there's a very obvious gap in the low of this move higher before this move lower. There's a very obvious gap in the low, or in the in discount of this move higher before this move lower. Check this out. Right? And you see how that got used? It's a Reaper for value gap right there. Right? Anyway. I might take another break. I'm going to keep going though. I'm not going to stop. You know, I want to trade live right now, but there's nothing that's high quality. Let's just put it that way. Because at this point, I'm bullish and I'm not shorting, and I'm also not longing because it's not necessarily a good opportunity. So, like, as much as I want to trade live right now, there's nothing right now. So I'm not going to. Alright, let's keep going. So, I'm loving looking at true opens lately. True opens kind of describe every little detail about the market. And I really do mean that. Like, if we pull up True Week Open, which is 18, right here. And then midnight, which is up here. I don't know. I kind of already looked at that. I'm not even going to lie. I already looked at that. But there's probably an inversion for value gap in here. On the 1 hour, maybe? Could be more obvious here, right? But you know what there is? And I actually don't mind this. The more I learn, trading is very backtesting based, which means if something makes sense according to your backtesting, you should take it. I would consider this an implied inversion for value gap. Why? even though it's not an actual gap, it still holds the same narrative that an inversion for value gap would hold. And the more I backtest, the more I realize, yeah, this is a real thing. And this is why backtesting is so important, because you can't listen to other people telling you how to trade. If you can't understand these markets yourself, you're never going to be able to trade them yourself. So take other people's opinions as advice and take other people what they say as advice, but at the end of the day, you got to be able to execute, and that comes from your own personal conviction, from your own personal backtesting, and there's no other way to do it. So we obviously swept liquidity, 15-minute inversion. This is just one of those trades where you can just tell, like, we're probably not going to return back. You know what I mean? This is just one of those situations you can probably just tell we aren't going to return back to this original fair value gap. And this is a skill that over time you're going to build, right? And so we'll likely continue up to this high. We might get a trade actually, from in somewhere within here up to this high. It's always possible. Maybe we could look at the live markets if we want. I wish the live markets were being more interesting, but we could definitely look at them. All right. No drawdown whatsoever. So let's screenshot this. And I think we'll continue higher here. So we could look for a trade within this. 15-15. IFEG on the 15-minute. Smart man. Wait, what did I say that's smart? Did I say something that's smart? If I did, that's cool. I'm glad. But yeah, we're likely to continue to draw up to, like I said, we have 1 hour bodies here. I think that we'll draw up to those. So 5-minute implied for value gap here. We might want to go down to a 3-minute. Yeah. This is a lot better as a 3-minute gap. 3-minute. So yeah, we could draw up there, but once again, This, you can see by the way these candles look, I'm not wanting to take an actual trade. This is not the type of thing that I would take for real. But then again, I do think we are drawing up to those bodies. But you know, we have to be disciplined. As much as we want to be making money, we want to also be disciplined so that way we don't lose money, right? So we ended up getting a 1 hour inversion as well as a 2 hour inversion. You know, it is possible. Maybe we need to get a retracement. Maybe we'll get a retracement down to this gap or something like that. Always possible. But it is bullish, you know. It is very much bullish. Alright, another break. Alright, let's keep going. So at this point, I'm just going to be looking at pretty much any opportunities that there were today. Let's go to New York session. We had a 15-minute implied for value gap right here. And you can see it got reclaimed once, twice, 3 times. And then a 1 minute change in state. I like this change state delivery close here. I like this change. Oh, I actually don't like this change state because of the way this wick closed like that. But once we get this, it's very obvious we're going to go lower. So change in state. So we reclaim this once, twice, 3 times. You can see we sweep liquidity into the top of it. One minute change in state. We induce this high. We can enter on the close though. I'd probably go above the midpoint of that body, or I'd just go like right there, that stop loss. And then we can project this out. Fourth standard deviation right here. That's where I would target. Now we do hit that, but I'm not gonna lie, it's a shaky road. And a lot of it has to do with just conceptualizing like where's the actual liquidity, right? And if we conceptualize the liquidity, we can see, oh wow, most of it was just right here. We did not need to target the fourth standard deviation at all, right? There was no reason to. From a liquidity standpoint, most of the stop losses were going to be right around that second standard deviation max. So I would go to second standard deviation right here and then take profit right there. That's the way you would take this trade, in my opinion. Now, of course, clearly you could have held it, but not for me. $50-minute implied for value gap. I honestly want to get a notation for when it's supercharged because, you know, obviously it's going to be higher probability when it's supercharged, meaning if we use it 3 times. So 1, 2, 3. Let's make a notation for it. Ooh, I have an idea. Let's call it an SFVG. S. Whoo, now that looks cool. That doesn't look stupid. That looks cool. I like that. And then down to the second standard deviation right there. Bang. I like that. We found a new notation for supercharged for value gaps. It's crazy. Every day we learn something. No, I meant full state close. Oh my gosh. Alright, flow state close, bang, 15-minute, 1 minute. Alright, I'm taking another break. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of feeling like being done. Yeah, probably gonna be done. Yeah, I'm gonna be done, guys. Um, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.